Good Tuesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about cars and trucks. And wow, it's cold out here. What the heck? It's like winter's back. Good Lord. I can't believe it. Wow. I wish we have some snow flurries here, and I'm not dressed that warm today. I'm thinking it's like yesterday. But hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in this morning. Appreciate the subscribers supporting me. I really do. I enjoy talking to you. I hope you enjoy me talking to you. But hey, what's the news of the day? What's the content? Looky here. The Ford Mustang. I thought to myself last night, this is pretty incredible. The Ford Mustang is once again going to outlive the competition. That Mustang product is going to outlive the Dodge Challenger. That Mustang over there is going to outlive the Camaro. Yes. Wow. I didn't really think much about that till I read about the Camaro last night. And I thought to myself, is the Camaro ever being built? No, don't do that. Nope, get in the barn. Go to the barn. Boy, it's cold. Winter is back for the moment right now. Yeah, so the Camaro is not going to be built after 2024. The Challenger's done after 2023, so the Mustang's the only pony car still standing. Wow, cold. I need a different jacket. Yeah, I didn't know we're going to have such a change of weather. Look at the fleet of trucks I have. And then my one Lightning is down. Ford F-150 Lightning, I'm getting the windshield replaced. Pretty crazy on how I first got that truck. And I drove a little bit, but then I gave it to my guy that left me. I gave that to him, and I haven't driven that F-150 truck. I'm just so kind of out of touch with the electric, all the electric stuff. And if you follow my channel, you'll see I was one of the guys out there promoting the electric product over a year ago and talking about it and trying to be truthful about everything. And not try to get too like biased or too brainwashed. That's a challenge. Come on, let's get in. Get the birds here and come on, pups. Let's go. Get here in the garage. Get my coffee. Get the routine going. Probably need to put battery tenders back on there. You got the Bronco, the Raptor. I think it's so much fun. That video is so much fun. I met a nice guy on Sunday, and I'm sorry he didn't reach out to me, because I told him to make a comment on my YouTube channel, if he could remember the name of it. Because I told him about the Bronco he had. He was wanting to put an air intake on his Bronco. He's got like the, I don't know what package he has. But anyways, I just was talking to him and giving him information because he didn't know about the sport mode. In those Broncos. So he's going to get a little more energy out of it. And I said, well, have you driven in sport mode? He's like, sport mode? I'm like, no. I'm like, well, you need to drive in sport mode because open up those Ford engines. It doesn't seem the same in other cars. I think Ford has some little hidden, idea there or something. I don't know. It just seems weird how Ford, their cars in that sport mode, it's like a whole different vehicle. I mean, it just totally opens up. And it's like you're in the dog mode. You're in the real low mode, the no energy mode, the sleep mode. Yeah. So anyways, so what's the conversations today? I just thought to myself, we'll just say it's the news. I always like to try to create a theme each morning on the car channel. And then we go to the state of times. And that's kind of like to do. I kind of like to voice my opinions, what I think, and enjoy hearing others weigh in their thoughts too. Just a YouTube channel, just trying to share my fun in life and help others as far as hear information and maybe you learn something, maybe you don't, or just get the entertainment out of who I am. I don't know, whatever. I mean, we all kind of follow personalities around, and for me, I don't. I actually don't watch any news. People are like, yeah, I don't watch any. I do not do it. I won't do it. I don't do it. It's brainwashing. Just no. Nope. I like to watch the morning business channel here in Fox News, and because it kind of stays a little bit more on the news to an aspect, but at the same time, it gets can get a little sideways there. But anyway, so yeah, I was seeing myself last night. Wow, there's just so much information in the car world today. It is overwhelming, and especially now with the electric cars. if you really start digging into the technology of electric cars, what's going on, and the charging station infrastructure, I mean, it's just. But the first thing I really wanted to talk about was how the Mustang last night, it kind of hit me like a brick in the head. Have you ever had that happen? You're just kind of like sitting around and thinking, and all of a sudden you're like, this is pretty incredible. Dodge, if you watch my channel, you'll see that the daughter and I rode around Dodge Challenger yesterday afternoon after I dropped off my Ford F-150 Lightning truck for the windshield repair, and you'll see me riding around through. Wow, that thing! I told my daughter last night, I said, tell you what, if I looked at you and I said, okay, you got to make a choice, Mustang or Challenger, you have no option. You have to make a choice. And if you said Mustang, I said, you know what I think I'd do? I think I'd probably cash out of my Hellcats, and I could drive that car around and have a blast. That car. If that car's exhaust out in that thing, I don't know what the other people did to that thing. It is right. And that thing's fast. I mean, it really is fast. And I've always have talked about so many years how that 392 Scat Pack Dodge Challenger package, bang for the buck. You just can't go wrong. I mean, it's just a really nice car. And yeah, I talk about how the GT Mustang, I think, has a little bit more of the fun factor. And it's only because of the rev matching and the tunable exhaust, but for the record, that has a really nice exhaust on it, so that makes it more fun, and it just seems to be a little more free-spirited, so it's just a really fun car. And those Challengers are such an over-the-road car. You can go from here to California extremely comfortable, and if you're not dogging it, that's a 22 miles per gallon, 24 miles per gallon vehicle. Yes, they are, so it's just a great package. So I told my daughter's like, you guys make a decision. What do you want? But I'm just being kidding around. We're not getting rid of the Mustang. I mean, that wasn't part of the deal. I didn't buy it for that reason, if you know what I mean on that. Even though she got the Mustang, she had to give up the other Challenger. But I didn't like that manual Challenger. I got some coffee. I mean, I'm just not really a big manual guy, but especially the Challenger, just too long a shift. Like my Viper trucks I used to have back in 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those things are the same thing. Those long, like a truck. I drove like a truck. It's so ridiculous. Pretty cool truck, but you're driving like a conventional truck, Ram or Dodge truck, however you want to categorize it, with the big old stick shift on the floor and just huge difference from first to second to third to fourth. So, but anyway, so yeah. So the news of the Mustang, it's incredible how, once again, Ford is going to outlive the competition. And if you look at the history of Chevy and Dodge, they disappear from the market. They've done it numerous times where they just kind of fade out of the pony car market and then they come back. So for Dodge, as we know, it's over. It's only electric. I mean, it's going all electric, beyond believable. And for GM, my understanding is 2024 is the last generation of that body style. And then for 2025, it's maybe Camaro comes back, but it's going to be probably like the Mach-E. I mean, it's going to be probably like the crossover look vehicle. That's just where the market's going. Wow. So, which once again, Ford Mustang. So you think about it. How many Ford Mustang haters are going to raise their hand and go, well, you know what? I can't buy a gas engine Camaro anymore, new. You can buy them used, but I can't get that power one out of just off the factory floor like the Ford Dark Horse Mustang or GT500 or whatever it's going to be, the GT350, whatever it's going to be. And okay, I raise my hand, I'm going to go buy a Ford Mustang because it still has a gas engine in it. Or, the same thing with the Dodge guy. Dodge guy's like, man, I've never been a Ford guy, never be a Ford guy. Oh my gosh, it looks like I'm going to go buy a Ford Mustang because it still has a gas engine in it. Wow. Who'd ever imagine that, right? I mean, the Mopar guy, the Mopar muscle, it's just beyond, it's hard to believe. So what I did last night is I did a lot of reading in a kind of the electric market, charging infrastructure, charge of the, it's a state of charge. There's a guy who has a really good YouTube channel. This guy's he's a smart guy. He's done a really good job. I really do. I commend him for being a gentleman. And I don't know his name. I should, because I just don't watch him a lot. But it's a state of charge. And he's a really thorough guy that really goes through great lengths of detail to explain to you what's going on in the electrical car market and the charging of cars. And he did a great video about Tesla, because if you're listening to my channel, you're watching the news, Tesla has opened up somewhat their charging station infrastructure to be used by others that do not own a Tesla product. And heat's pretty hot. I got to turn this heat over here. It's kind of getting me a little too good there, but but it's cold up here. But and what's interesting is when I got my Mach-E last year, I was in the Mach-E forum. I bought this special adapter. It's like the CSS plug or the CSE plug. There's always abbreviations for all this technology. It's kind of befuddling, and it's kind of interesting to see how you look at the gasoline industry, and I think to myself, back when the gas cars started coming to the marketplace, did you have to go to a different gas station to be able to get gas for your car? Was there like, and I don't think there was, but in this charging infrastructure for these electric cars, it's incredible on how there's variables. There's a lot of variables when you go drive down the road and you find a charging station of what your car can do and can't do at that charging station. And that's my point. Last year, I got suckered into being told on the Mustang Mach-E forum that if you buy this adapter for the cable, if you just picture the handle of the Tesla device that plugs into a Tesla car, that style plug doesn't match my Mustang Mach-E. So I bought an adapter. It was like $300 for me to be able to plug this adapter into the Tesla handle, and then it converts and plugs into my car. And I went to a Tesla station and I tried to use it, and it wouldn't work. Tesla wouldn't open the gate for me to use that. So now Tesla, because of the tax, the Inflation Reduction Act subsidy bill, all the electric infrastructure of this country, Tesla is raising their hand and saying, okay, well, if we can participate with conditions, one of them being he starts to open up his charging station network, he's going to have access to getting monies to be able to build maybe another factory or whatever he has, whatever he has in plans, he's going to get tax incentives. So he's being a little bit more friendly about opening his charging network. But even though the Tesla owners, I think, don't like this because they've had propriety to these charging stations and of ease of getting in and out and getting, they're being taken care of. That now, the Hyundai guys are going to show up. The Volkswagen guys are going to show up. The Ford guys are going to show up. So it's a whole different dynamics that's getting ready to play out. And I'm sure a lot of Tesla owners are probably like, this just isn't fair. But at the same time, I think to myself, can you even imagine if the gas station industry had one brand of gasoline that only X amount of cars could run off of, and then your car went to that gas station and you couldn't buy that gasoline because it's a different type of fuel that you just can't use in your car? And yeah, I guess if you said the guys that have straight leaded gasoline or no ethanol gasoline, yeah, I get it. E85, I get all that, flex fuels. But anyways, so an electrical charging side, really good channel if anybody wants to go check him out. It's State of Charge, and he gives really good info. And he did a whole YouTube video that I watched last night for 30 minutes at like 3 in the morning, and he has a black electric F-150 Lightning, and he has a Rivian apparently as well. But I really haven't been following his channel that much because I kind of broke away from the whole electric thing after I got my electric cars. Kind of got it out of me, and I just kind of stepped back because I just think there's so much challenge, and I think it's all about the news. And I just think to myself, the news and how the news is driving so many to believe that the electric cars and the charging stations, it's the news is trying to keep the hype up, in my eyes, to continue to get the people to be excited about the electrical change. And so what I did last night as well, after watching this gentleman's 30-minute video with good information, and I just thought to myself, what's the market like right now? Like right now, what's my F-150 truck used with 15,000 miles on it worth? And what's my Mustang Mach-E worth? So first thing I actually did, I said, you know what? Let's just see at a 100-mile radius what the market is. And I looked up the Ford F-150 Lightning truck, 100-mile radius, 60 new and used trucks available. You know what's incredible? That F-150 Lightning Stone Metallic Gray, or whatever they call it, that I ordered last year. They came in December of last year when I was in Florida. And if you watched my channel back in December, you saw me trying to negotiate to buy another F-150 Lightning. And that truck's still sitting at Koons Sterling Ford. Yeah. Wow. Right. So that car's now at 3 months. 3 months plus, going into a 4 month. Wow. You start hitting 120-day inventory at a car dealership. That's not good. Wow. So, and then I look at the value of what my truck is worth that I paid for. I paid ADM on that truck. And it's just wow. So that's like I'd have to get the sticker out. I can't be for sure, but the whole market's starting to see like 77. You're seeing some trucks out there with low mileage. So I think to myself, in a 100-mile radius in this Washington, D.C., Baltimore area, how many millions of people live in this area? And I'm thinking to myself, if there's millions of people and you have only 60 available Lightning trucks, and keep in mind, some of the dealers are on the ADM, but at the same time, I'm sure there's a lot of people sitting on the sidelines waiting for that ADM to go bye-bye. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't think they're really getting much. I think they're getting like $5,000 ADM, maybe 10, maybe. And I'm not sure on that. But also people are talking about they haven't come to resolution of your tax credit, but it's ridiculous. They're going to come to resolution exactly how much money you get off that truck, a tax credit. And since you bought it in 2023, whether you buy it in January or buy it in December, you're still going to get the tax credit. How it's all ironed out, the exact amount, I would be willing to bet it's going to be probably at $7,500 that F-150 truck when it's all said and done. But whatever, I don't know. So yeah, you can say there's speculation, but why last year when you couldn't even get one of these things, the hottest item in the market, and I turned around and sold my first one, made $20,000, not really $20,000, but they paid me $20,000 in so many ways back when I paid for it. Or $20,000 over sticker of what I paid for it. But when you factor in I had to pay sales tax and blah, 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 it isn't necessarily $20,000 per se. But anyways, I thought to myself, what's going on with that? So then I said, let's look at the Ford Mustang Mach-E. So the Ford F-150 Lightning in 100-mile radius is 60 vehicles. The Mustang Mach-E is 140. So it's over double the vehicles. And I just think, wow, so what is going on? So why is, and this is what I think to myself, it's the news. It's the news. The constant news that you people turn on the TV and they watch the news. And a year ago, we started a war. We started a war with Russia. I mean, we might as well just start saying we are in a war with Russia. If you see with China right now, China's new ambassador to China, he was very, very aggressive yesterday in testimony, and I guess wherever he was, Capitol or wherever he was, I'm not sure exactly where it all took place, but if you're following the news, you're going to see that he's being very arrogant, just about telling Americans shut the hell up. He's telling us we're the oppressors. I mean, is this distraction? Is this distraction from the COVID that they helped permeate the whole freaking world? Yeah, create the world chaos. But anyways, so you think to yourself, the news a year ago was all about the Ukraine war that drove the gasoline prices through the roof. And the news media, I mean, I can remember seeing in local news, which I rarely ever watch that, but I can remember seeing a news journalist, down there at the gas station, and standing around asking people about the gas prices and how mad they were about the gas prices, and then this administration attacking the gas stations, that they're ripping everybody off and everything else and blah, blah, blah. But it drove the desire to have electric vehicles, because people basically had the impression that you buy an electric car and your gas station woes go away and you'll save yourself a ton of money. But now you're a year later and the gas prices are within, just average prices of average times, $3. We're back to the $3 gas. I mean, I know it goes from anywhere from down to Tennessee to 89 to up here to over $4. Just depends what market you're in. If you live in California, there's like $1.25 gas tax, so you'll never have the cheapest price in that state to pay for all reparations that's coming your way, Mr. California, Mr. Newsom, that's going to put his ticket to presidency when gets that all done in the news, right? So anyway, so electric car market, it's just like, it's befuddling because on one hand, you're hearing how that's such the trend of the future, and we're seeing the infrastructure being built out at the fastest clip in modern times. We're seeing the money being spent at the fastest clip in modern times. We're seeing the automotive industry revolutionize their, changing over their factories at the fastest pace in modern times. But at the same time, you think to yourself, is the consumer really wanting that product? So, I mean, is this going to be maybe one of the biggest fails? Is this going to be the Edsel? Is this going to be the Henry Ford's son that created the Edsel and it's just a complete failure? I mean, is this where it's going? I mean, sincerely, is automotive manufacturing going to just be slapped in the face when all of a sudden they just don't see the masses running in droves to buy electric cars, and people decide just to keep on buying that ICE car? And they just change up from owning a car to a truck that still has maybe a gasoline engine in it, or they buy used cars. The used gasoline market, think about this, is the used gasoline cars values are going to go through the roof because so many people just don't want the electric vehicle infrastructure. I mean, wow, I don't know. But you have to say to yourself, just looking at today's current events, why are the electric vehicles not just running off the parking lot like they used to? And then look at Elon Musk. It's a continued story of we're cutting prices. Yeah, we're cutting prices to make them more affordable. I mean, when has Elon Musk ever been the guy really to cater to the peons of the world? I mean, sincerely. I thought the Tesla's grand plan was to build an affordable electric car that could be like Hitler did for the Beetle of Germany, that could be the people's car. I mean, has anybody seen a Tesla that's a people's car? Now, don't get me wrong. I know the Model 3 now is much more affordable, but it took many years to get to that level to be able to bring that to the marketplace. And, yeah, for the record, now Tesla kind of leads the charge and seems to have its act together better than most. If you look at Ford, they've had some challenges, that F-150 truck that I have, on their quality and production, and the list goes on and on and on. And that's what I think. Ford sold 17,000 vehicles last year. They're going to build 150,000 models this year. So is this going to turn into the huge discounting? Is the manufacturers, electric side, kidding themselves? They're creating even a bigger future of huge volume of vehicles that are going to have to just be liquidated and given away to get rid of them, so the consumer can maybe come to closure, maybe even take one. And the Carlos, I'm trying to remember the guy's last name, was Stellantis. He was in New York last week, and one of the things that he was talking about, which I didn't bring up last week, was that this Stellantis CEO, he was saying that it's 40% more average, the average price of production for electric vehicle in today's economic times is 40% more than building an ICE vehicle. So it's very, very challenging for the manufacturers to make any money out of these cars. And that's why they're going to all this different, trying to go to lithium iron phosphate over the nickel carbon manganese, the NCM versus the LIP or whatever, type of materials to make less expensive batteries. Now get this. Iran supposedly, and it's news, you don't know what to believe anymore. The misinformation of the world beyond unbelievable, but supposedly Iran has just found or uncovered one of the second biggest lithium mining reserves in the world. I think this is classic because Iran, here we are, they're at 80% enrichment of uranium to be able to make their nuclear bomb to come bomb us one day. Yeah, so here's Iran, one of our, worst, one of the countries we just don't really seem to get along with very well. It's been going on since I was a kid, so it's not really any new news. But now here we're going to have to go, cater to Iran to get, I was talking about yesterday and how these automotive executives are going to these mining, you get these big annual mining get-togethers of all the big mining companies throughout the world and conventions or whatever, and how the big auto is trying to buddy up with these mining operations to try to control the cost and to have a future of building these electric batteries. And I think, yeah, now, so who's going to buddy up with Iran? I mean, wow. So will China just come in there? Will they come in there and try to take it? Wow. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just interesting times. And for me, I'm an individual wanting to preach gloom and doom. I'm just wanting to say to anybody watching my channel, we just live in such an interesting time of the future. We're grasping for the future all the time, but yet, the future that eventually comes to be isn't really what everybody thought it would be, and it gets, many times it's a failure, many times it's not. Just like I was talking yesterday, that out here in Loudoun County, if you watched my video yesterday, me driving through Loudoun County, Virginia, Ashburn, Virginia, Loudoun County area, and you watch that video, me taking the black truck down to that glass place, the infrastructure of the building in this area is just massive. It's massive. The townhouses, apartments, and condos, and warehouses, and then these data centers. These data centers have been built, and they're not done. They're still building these data centers left and right. And the reason I'm talking about this is that there's a major metro rail station right up the road from all of that, where I was yesterday, and for the most part, nobody uses it. And that was, millions upon millions of dollars that have been spent on public transportation, but the future has ended up being something different that most people didn't. So you go back 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and you had these county executives and the metro executives all, going through the steps to get the land zoning rights, the engineering, the infrastructure, all the stuff to put in public transportation. But nobody tapped anybody on the shoulder and said, hey, let me give you a little secret. Where technology's going, do you see all these data centers that they're building everywhere in your own backyard right now? Mr. Metro guy, yeah, I see that. Yeah, that's just, for the computers and yeah. Hello, hey buddy, stop talking. Yeah, right. Yeah, what's going on, buddy? That's to enable people to work from home. They don't need to work in an office anymore. I don't think that's going to be the case. Get the hell out of here. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. I mean, that's where we are. It's incredible how more than ever we can do what we want to do remotely from having to go to an office building. And then there's a whole other variable that's playing out right now that I've talked about before as well. Is, do you think that 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even pre-pandemic, the guy buying that big commercial property that had businesses in it was concerned about his well-being in the future? Bam, wow. How many guys right now are going bust in these commercial real estate properties? And once again, it won't play out overnight because there's long-term leases. So if you sign a lease with a guy in, let's just say 2018, and he had a 10-year lease, and even though he doesn't use your building anymore, he's still paying you. So there's a lot of that going on right now where a lot of these buildings are empty, but they still are collecting rent monies from businesses that just came to closure. They don't need to put everybody in the office, or they don't need to put them in there, much. But in a few days, they just downsize the whole, infrastructure of the office environment. Yeah, and what are people doing? So speaking of that, I was talking to my wife last night. I said, what's interesting, and I haven't read anything about this, but this is something for all of us should be concerned about. Because I think that, sadly, drugs, it's drugs today more than ever are killing our society at the highest rate, I believe, in modern times. And I think that if you read the news, I think most people are pretty abreast of fentanyl, what's going on, and then the pot, and and just there's so many things going on in our society today. And I thought to myself yesterday, it's like, wow, think about this. So how many people that no longer have to drive to work, and now remotely work from home, how many of them are doing drugs, at home, and doing their work responsibilities at home? Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer. There's no way you're going to trash yourself and try to drive to work in traffic and get an accident and get a DUI or get a drug possession or whatever it may be. or you're going to go to the office and they're going to smell weed on you, or they're going to smell alcohol on you, whatever it may be. You're not going to get away with that. But in people remotely working from home, it's like it hit me in a brick in the head. I mean, it's just like, wow, I've never even really stopped and thought about this, and so I just got to think to myself, yeah, how many people are at home now that are doing drugs while they're on the job? And I bet you it's going to be an eyebrow raiser of what's going on. And so, for me, sadly, for me as an individual, this is no lie. I lost my nephew from a motorcycle crash. Okay, well, he was a pothead. I mean, so for me as his uncle, I knew that he had serious challenges because he got into drugs when he was very young, and he had a very rough life. He didn't have a father, and his father never recognized him. So very sad story. But he got into drugs. He was in the pot. Most likely when he crashed that motorcycle and killed himself, he was probably high. I mean, wouldn't surprise me what happened to him. But I can think of people I know of that, like my father. My father was in a major argument with one of my sister's husbands years ago about the fact that he smoked pot. And he even exposed the kids, actually my nephew that died in that motorcycle accident. He was he wasn't his biological father, but he, one time was part of the family. And my father used to challenge his father of that not being right, that he thought his son had the right to smoke pot. And so it was a major kind of split in the relationships with my father and his father. And then over time, my sister eventually went through a divorce with him. But here's the thing. He was up here in Alexandria, Virginia many years ago, and he had a major seizure. He was like stoned off his ass. And if it wasn't for some maid or somebody walking by this condo that he was working on, found him laying on the ground, he'd be dead. Well, today, he's paralyzed. He's got like part of his face and part of his body, and he has a very hard time speaking. He's not self-sufficient anymore. And it was all from smoking pot. And so, but I think to myself today, more than ever, we live in a society. Are we becoming the potheads of today's society? I mean, are we literally, is our society evolving to, we're dealing with people more than ever that are trying to make rational decisions that aren't in actually stable state of mind. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Where is this country going? I just think, and it's so sad, if you start reading the stories of all these young kids that are buying drugs, what they think there's Percocet and Xanax, and it's fentanyl laced, and they're dead like instantly. And everybody knows that amount of fentanyl that you have to have. Is so it's like anthrax to me. This fentanyl stuff. If you touch this stuff, it may kill you. This is like anthrax. This is what's going on in today's society more than ever, and it's just really sad that the fentanyl deaths is growing. It's not shrinking, so it's getting worse and worse. And there's mothers out there that have created organizations, and they're begging and pleading for parents and the government to start waking people up that this fentanyl stuff is a killer. It's as if the Chinese are intentionally wanting to kill off the youth of our country. Really bad. It really is bad. But people don't want to talk about this stuff. People are ashamed. And that's what she talks about, is the toxicology reports won't show fentanyl. They're not, when a kid dies, the hospitals or whoever does the toxicology reports, they're not testing for fentanyl overdose. That's not all states, just some states. And she's trying to get a bill passed where all states have to start showing if this person died from fentanyl. And this is, who's dying from stuff is like the 18-year-olds to 44-year-olds. And how many, my guess is, 100 people didn't wake up this morning from fentanyl? That'd be my guess. Because you're talking right now 120,000. Last year was 121,000 deaths divided by 365 days. 330 people didn't wake up this morning. Wow. Can you imagine that? 330 people that, this would be like you going to a small elementary school or even a small town high school. And can you imagine walking in that high school and there's 331 people laying on the ground dead? That's where we are. But it doesn't get the media attention because the media wants to talk about other things. about, like Gavin Newsom. He's on this reparations thing. He's on a mission, and they're just trying to figure out how it's all going to work out. And now they're talking maybe $360,000 versus $5 million or $3 million or $1 million, but they won't disclose on how they're going to pay for it. I just think, well, I don't know. Maybe the lotto will pay for it. Maybe if all the Californians pay the lotto, they win the lotto all the time. And in all reality, that lotto gets up to $1 billion. But I think they need like $450 billion. So many times you have to win the lotto to pay that back, right? Yeah, I don't know. The slush fund, right? Yeah, all right. Well, anyways, hey, that's the news of the day. I hope you enjoyed my news of the day, right? And so I hope you're in the upbeat mood after all that negativity, right? Yeah, one of my car forums I used to be in, they call me Mr. Sunshine. And that summit makes a good point. There's a whole article I read last night in the Wall Street Journal that talked about that everybody has the 6-month gloom and doom recession. It's always 6 months from now, 6 months from now, 6 months from now. Well, you got to wonder, is it really starting to play out? I don't know, man. I mean, it seems like things are changing. But at the same time, get this. The reason you don't see a lot of houses up for sale because people can't afford to sell their house to go buy another one because they don't want to get rid of that nice interest rate. That's interesting. So the housing market, not all the houses are on the market because people are in dire straits or anything. People realize if they sell their house and they're at a 3% interest rate and they go buy a new one, they're going to be at 6%. They just are like, nah, I'm out. I don't want to do that. So that's slowed down a lot of the housing market. So, all right, everybody, I can talk all morning. Can you tell? What am I doing next? Yeah, I got to start training the kid how to help me run my business. That's what I'm doing next. Yeah, the one-man show. I've done it many years, believe it or not. I've been that's who I am. So, as I say, right, on my YouTube channel, Ice Age TV. So, everybody, thanks for supporting me. Appreciate the nice comments. I get some jabs here and there, but, whatever. I get it. It's all good. No hate here. That isn't who I am. That's not who I am, and I'm not going to be that type of person. I have been so incredibly successful in my life of people doing devious, nasty things to me, where in the end, I'm like, okay, what'd you accomplish? And I continue on my path to success. I can't emphasize enough that I've been a very godly person all my life, and I do care about other people, and that's just not who I am, and I never will be. Even though some people want to make you get mad and hate them and everything, whatever. That's not who I am. I'm not the end result of where you're going in this physical, spiritual world one day. So, hey, everybody, God bless. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more adventures.